Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live on this Sunday of double-header action here on LFS. As first we watch a London derby at Selhurst Park as Crystal Palace take on Brentford, followed by Aston Villa taking on West Ham United at Villa Park. A Crystal Palace side unbeaten in their last 6 in the Premier League, and a Brentford side just 1 win in 9 in all competitions. It is a struggle for the Bees, but Palace coming into this one in great form in the table. They're right beside each other in the table, 11th and 12th. We'll see where they end up by the end of today on Premier League Live.
Call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine.
Good afternoon, welcome in to Premier League Live with me, Kevin Ferris, this afternoon. As you heard there, a double header this afternoon here at Selhurst Park and then later on at Villa Park. Alongside us at 2 o'clock, Tottenham take on Leicester in North London. A Tottenham side sitting right down the bottom of the table in 15th at the moment. A Leicester side in 19th. Leicester can escape the bottom 3 with a win today. Spurs want to see themselves move up close to Crystal Palace. They could go up to 12th with a victory this afternoon, can Spurs. But first, we watch 2 sides in a London derby. Crystal Palace, Brentford, both have won one of their meetings in the Premier League. A lot of draws. The last 2 meetings have been home wins, but their first 5 in the Premier League between these 2 all ended in draws, quite interestingly. Let's have a look at the teams then. And we start, if we get the teams up, there we are. We start with Dean Henderson in goal for Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace. A back 3/back 5 of Daniel Munoz, Chris Richards, Maxence Lacroix, Mark Guehi the captain, and Tyreek Mitchell in defence. Will Hughes and Jefferson Lerma are the midfield 2, with a front 3 of Ismaila Sarr, Eberieze, and Jean-Philippe Mateta leading the line for Palace. On the bench, for the home side, Turner, Klein, Kapora, Schlupp, Kamada, Deveni, Esse, Ume, and Nketiah. For Brentford, well, as I said, 1 win in 9 for them in their last in all competitions. Mark Flecken starts in goal. They've continued with the back 4 of Mads Rushlev, Nathan Collins, Sepp van den Berg, and Keane Lewis Potter in defence. Vitaly Janelt and Christian Norgard the captain and the midfield 2, with Mikkel Damsgaard in the 10. On the right flank is Brian Mbomo, on the left flank is Kevin Schade, and through the middle is Johan Visa. On the bench for Brentford, Valdimarsson, Ayer, Mee, Kim, Yarmoliuk, Jensen, Carvalho, Cognac, and Magoma. 2 sides, as I said, want to see themselves in the top half this evening. That is possible if they can get a big victory this afternoon. Crystal Palace, as I said, unbeaten in the last 5 in the Premier League. Brentford 1 win in 9, and that was away to Southampton, where they won 5-0. But it's not been all rosy since then. Kickoff at Selhurst Park between Crystal Palace and Brentford is next. A very good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live for this one between Crystal Palace and Brentford in this London derby. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated. And we thank each and every one of you for joining us this afternoon for this one. A double header in the Premier League this afternoon. Really looking forward to the matchups that we're witnessing in the Premier League this Sunday afternoon. A very wet and dreary day in South London. Certainly the rain might play a factor in this afternoon's game. Crystal Palace in their home strip of blue and red stripes, and Brentford in their away strip today of that pinkish shirt with black shorts. It will be Crystal Palace that will be getting us underway then for this one. So they kick from left to right, Brentford from right to left for this first half. And a first half where both sides will want to impress, both sides will want to get off to a good start, because they're up against a very well matched side, as Eza has the first shot of the game. Dragged wide of the right post. Again, as soon as the ball came down to the ground, Eza on the turn. As it bounces down, flicked on by Hughes, round the corner to Aberi Eza, round about the edge of the D, and he kind of drags the shot wide of the right post. Very quick start there for Crystal Palace. 6 wins this season in 22 games for Palace, 8 wins in 22 for Brentford. And Palace, of course, ended last season with an incredible run under Oliver Glasner. It was a bit of a wobble, a bit of a struggle to start this season. Palace finished last season in the top half, in 10th on 49 points. Brentford on 39 points. So a 10-point gap of a difference between the two at that point at the end of last season. Throw in down the left by Lewis Potter. Flicked away by the Palace defence. Kept alive there by Damsgaard. Delivers it back in. Vissa was the target. Cleared away that time by Maxence Lacroix. Back down the left it comes, here with Lewis Potter. Battling there with Richards and Munoz, and Lewis Potter had the last touch. Well, the Palace players thought that he did. It will be a throw-in down this left-hand side, already underway in that game between Tottenham and Leicester. We'll keep you up to date with that scoreline there, because that will be an interesting and very intriguing game. A Spurs side in desperate need of points, but a Leicester side that know if they can get a win away at Spurs, which one of their relegation battlers have already done this season. If they can do that this afternoon, Leicester, they can be outside the bottom 3 come the end of the afternoon. Corner for Brentford, left-footed delivery, not comfortably dealt with there. Norgard tried to take it down in the box and put it out of play for a goal kick. Excuse me. It's certainly not a real nice day in South London. The rain is absolutely pelting down. As I said, that will add a different aspect to this game. It will make it a bit more intriguing. Make it difficult for goalkeepers. It's one of those ones where you can take shots from distance and goalkeepers might slip. They might kind of bobble the ball in front of them. That's a nice hold up there by Palace. Here's Sarr. Back to Richards. One thing about that makes this battle so interesting and so intriguing this afternoon between Palace and Brentford is the fact that they are so well matched in terms of the season. You know, Palace have been on this good run of form, as I said, unbeaten in 5 in the Premier League. Considering how they started, that's quite a good run of form for Palace. Actually, to be fair, in this run of unbeaten in 5, they've actually got half of their wins they've got this season in their last 5 games. 3 wins away at West Ham, away to Leicester, and at home against Southampton. And draws, of course, along the way, away at Bournemouth and at home to Chelsea. So some very good results for Crystal Palace as of recently in the Premier League, and 3 of those 6 wins they've had this season have come in those last 5 games. So there is that real uptick in form for Palace, and that's why they probably come into this one knowing that they get a big win today. They move up the table, they go above Brentford in the table, and they kind of want to look ahead of them and above them in the table rather than behind them, and kind of leave that relegation battle in the dust. Because here's Munoz, just well defended by Van den Berg, stepped in at the right time there to win it back for Brentford, but Munoz was breaking into the box there for Palace. Away comes Vissa, wins the throw in there in his own half. It'll be Rushlev that will take this throw on the far right hand side. Played into Damsgaard, flicks it in behind, but taking no risks there. Mark Gurhey, the Palace captain, puts it out for another Brentford throw in on this right side. Experience for a 24-year-old in the Premier League. Mark Gurhey started all 21 of Palace's Premier League games up to this point and played all the minutes. It would equate to over 1,800 minutes, 1,890 minutes Mark Goalless has played this season for Crystal Palace. At the back, through in, delivered in, flicked on at the front post, and Vissa was there with a header. Richards tried to get it away, still alive here in the box, and Burmo on the edge, surrounded by those in red and blue, and seen out of play. That's really good defending from Crystal Palace, seeing Brandon Burmo out of the edge of the box there and recovering the ball with a throw-in. Hughes goes across to Goalless. Lacroix. Now Richards. Brentford pressing. Palace comfortable with passing the ball out from the back, but that's a poor ball by Richards. But not really getting much out of that, with Nathan Collins giving it back. So here comes Mitchell down the left-hand side for Palace. Infield to Lerma. Flicks it on for Sarr. To Jefferson Lerma. Sarr again. Surrounded by a few in pink. Plays it off to Hughes. Lovely flick on by Eza. Here's Mateta! Good save by the goalkeeper for Brentford there, Mark Flecken. Really nice play up the middle. Really quality through the lines. Hughes just breaks into a central area. Eza, facing away from goal, flicks it on, and Jean-Philippe Mateta makes the run off his defender in Vandenberg, breaks it onto his left foot, strikes it right down the throat of Mark Flecken, but incredible pace on the ball, and Flecken can only parry it behind for the corner. That was a quality bit of play from Crystal Palace. They have their first corner of the game. On this left-hand side, the referee just going to sort out one or two issues. Tony Harrington, the referee this afternoon, here at Selhurst Park. Let's see what Palace can do from their first corner. Delivery, right-footed, flicked onto the front post, all the way across and out the other end. I think it came off a Brentford head, so it will be another corner. This time on the right-hand side. It's a deep delivery right across the 6-yard box. Richards was up to try and get it, but I think it came off a player in pink, and it does go behind for another corner. It was Christian Norgard that it was flicked on at the front post. That could have been really threatening, really dangerous for Brentford defensively there if that flicked on to the right player. And all the way through, and Hughes will deliver from this right-hand side for Palace. Left-footed, in-swinger, whipped in, headed away by Vandenberg, not fully cleared as Sarr back into the mix, and bouncing around Munoz. The referee lets it go. Munoz dragged out wide, can't really manoeuvre a bit of space at the moment. Whips it back in again, Munoz, bouncing down. Sarr tries to flick it on. Lacroix is chasing. Lacroix to the byline. Try to cut it across. Well blocked by Vissa. And Brentford won a break here with Damsgaard. Lewis Potter. And it just goes out for a throw-in. That was a good bit of play from Crystal Palace again, keeping it alive from the second phase of the corners. You know, usually when you see a corner coming in, the team don't really keep it alive and it kind of falters to nothing. It was good pressure from Palace, sustaining that pressure upon the Brentford defence, and really trying to test them in and around the box, and ultimately Brentford held out on that occasion and kept Crystal Palace at bay. That was positive from the home side. Here's Collins. Back to Flecken, nice Sepp Vandenberg. Vandenberg, of course, 23-year-old Dutchman. Joined Brentford in the summer from Liverpool for just under £20 million. Has played 18 games this season. Started 17 of those, so has played quite a lot of minutes this campaign for Brentford. Has Sepp Vandenberg at the back. Real reliable player for Brentford. It's an area where they've had issues in defence with injuries in recent seasons, and maybe trying to solidify that role and get a real consistent player in there that can keep himself fit in that position. for Thomas Frank. That's lovely play by Ismail Assar, who was hounded at there twice, and Vitaly Janelt's the one that's going to get penalised for it. But he was tiptoeing his way through a few. Fabulous play by Ismail Assar. You see it again, he skips away from Norgard here and tries to come on the inside of Vitaly Janelt, and ultimately Janelt leaving him with a pile of heap on the floor there. Was Ismail Assar, but he gets the free kick. Good quality. Very good quality player is Ismail Assar. Had that spell at Watford where he was kind of the key man at Watford for a number of years in the Premier League. Ismail Assar. Of course, made the move to Crystal Palace from Marseille, actually, this summer for £15 million. Had spent around 3 or 4 years at Watford before he moved to Marseille last summer. Or the summer before last, actually, now, because we're in 2025. Here is Guéhi. Mitchell. Trying to flick it on. Well, intercepted by Norgard. And Burma with a flick on in behind, but Lacroix wins it back. That was good play by Eza there. Trying to recycle the ball for Palace, but they give it away cheaply. Mbomo into the middle for Janelt. Janelt goes out to the left hand side, finds Schade. Back infield to Janelt again, who will go for the cross deep to the back post. And Mitchell there initially dealing with it, and Mbomo just making sure it did go out for the corner, which it does. Corner for Brentford then on the right hand side. That's one thing about these two teams. I've mentioned it even when I said what I was intrigued about this game. They are quite evenly matched in all areas, kind of. And it's good to see the tussle today. We could get either a 0-0, where both sides really just cancel each other out, or we could get a real cracking game where the game opens up and they're really competing with each other for the score sheet. Corner here for Mbomo to deliver on the right hand side, left footed. Flicked on at the front post, but over the bar it went from the Brentford captain, Christian Norgard. It was a good delivery. And it's just he's too far, kind of on the edge of the 6-yard box on the right hand side. He's quite a far away from goal, and quite a difficult angle to try and flick on the header from. Another lackluster, really, corner delivered by Brentford there, but the delivery was fine. It was just the finish that let them down on that occasion. Munoz gives it away cheaply back to Lewis Potter, who just recycles the ball back to his goalkeeper. Here is Collins. Cross now to Vandenberg, and out wide on the left is Damsgaard now. He will feed it forward here for Lewis Potter, who will deliver it in. Well dealt with by Lacroix. And Richards trying to get the ball away. Hughes misplaced. Give it back to Norgard. Battling with Sarr. But Lewis Potter gets the ball back for Brentford again. Just see a real good tussle out there between their 50-50 duels, their one-on-one battles. That's well won that time by Palace, as that clearance by Hughes actually worked out well. Here's Eza crossing the halfway line. Back in to Lerma. To Guéhi. Quite far wide on the left side there, Mark Guéhi. Infield to Eza again. Short of 15 minutes gone here at Selhurst Park. Palace 0, Brentford 0. Both sides having one or two opportunities up to this point, but nothing of real great concern for either goalkeeper. Probably the best opportunity came for Crystal Palace when Jean-Philippe Mateta had his shot parried behind by Mark Flecken for a corner. Ball comes over the top, nicely chested down by Sarr. Out wide it goes to Munoz. Back to Sarr again. Lacroix, he will lift it over the top. Well defended there by Collins, but bobbling around the midfield. One back by Lerma. Given out wide. Mitchell wins that battle, but ultimately had the last touch. There it looked like. Tyrick Mitchell. And it will be a Brentford throw. Still goalless in North London between Tottenham and Leicester. So far it's actually Leicester that have had more shots, but Spurs have had 2 shots, both of them on target. So quite a tight game there between Spurs and Leicester up to this point. Through in down the right hand side. Rochlev. Again, the flick on didn't work there by Damsgaard, and gives it away to Maxence Lacroix. Richards. Lacroix again, right through the middle, linking up well with Mateta. His layoff to Lerma wasn't particularly accurate. Good press though by Mitchell. Mateta, lovely flick on, finds Eze. Holds it up well. Plays it into Lerma now. Lerma trying to get the flick on was Mateta, but Brentford were calm, composed, and got it back to their keeper, who clears it long. But Palace trying to find those little moments, those little extras in and around those tight spaces in the centre and around the edge of the box, and trying to just get that little flick on, that little touch that will allow the runners in behind to get on the ball. Here's Hughes. Eze goes back to Lerma. Has space here to run forward. Plays it through for Mateta, trying to find Sarr, but again Brentford dealt with that, and the flag was up anyway against Jean-Philippe Mateta. There's certainly, we seen it for that shot that ended up going for the corner. There's clearly an identifier there from Crystal Palace that they want to carve right through the centre of Brentford. There's that, they must feel there's a vulnerability right up the middle excuse me, of Brentford, and at time and time again they're trying to get it into those central areas, in and around the edge of the box, and feed it through, kind of drive it right through the centre of the Brentford defence to find their centre forward. And at times it's working, but also at the same time Brentford are battling well one-on-one with Mateta. Whether it be Collins or Vandenberg, they're both battling quite well with the Palace centre forward. Here's Vissa. Has to go back to Lewis Potter to keep possession on this left hand side. Vandenberg. Cross now to Collins. Into Janelt. Vandenberg. Out wide it comes to Lewis Potter. Looking for a target. Finds Damsgaard. Linking up well with Vissa. Trying to go for the little triangle there, but the third little pass didn't come off, although Palace give it away cheaply with Eze. Here's Norgard. Out on the right hand side. Rochlev with the early cross. Flicked on by Shada, but to no one in pink. And easily gathered by Dean Henderson in the Palace goal, who hasn't really had much to do so far. The Palace goalkeeper. No shots from Brentford up to this point. 2 for the home side. Oh, the little bounce on the ball almost took it into the path of Mateta there. It's well watched by Vitaly Janelt. Got it back to his keeper, but that could have been awkward for the Brentford defenders. Forward it comes to Damsgaard. Rochlev. Good challenge again by Eze on Rochlev. Palace's press has been quite good so far, especially in those wide areas, winning the ball back. Those one-on-one duels. Trying to go for the switch ball there, but well won back by Lewis Potter, and now breaking away is Shada. Using his pace to break away, but poor pass, and Lacroix there to intercept. Mitchell. Eze trying to link up down the left-hand side here for Palace. Not in a hurry to get forward. The home side. And a couple of groans there that Palace aren't getting forward quick enough. And fair enough, they actually haven't used their pace very much in the game, Palace. It's been more about intricacies in and around the central areas, but there's not really been that blistering pace, that use of the pace that we know they have with the likes of Ineza or even Assar on the opposite side, where we haven't really seen that very much in these early moments. And you can start to hear those little groans from the crowd where there is opportunities to get forward and into spaces and use that pace, but they're not doing it at the moment. Damsgaard was in the box there, but Lacroix did very well in clearing it away. Got one back by Rushlev. Norgard. Nice link up with Mbermo. Lovely play here. Vissa with a shot! And a good save by Dean Henderson. Had to force it. It's really nice by Johan Vissa. Again, fabulous play down the right-hand side by Brentford. Really good combination of football in and around the box. And Johan Vissa gets it on the edge. Allowed to turn, allowed to take the shot on the turn. And as he does shoot, forces a good save off Dean Henderson for the corner. That's been Brentford's best chance of the game. And they have a corner now on this left-hand side. And the crowd kind of snitching on Mikkel Damsgaard there, that the ball wasn't quite over the quadrant for the corner. Damsgaard to deliver. Punched away by Henderson. Good strong right hand in the box there. In a crowded area. Ball delivered back in. Shadow with a flick on, but the bouncing ball right into the hands of Henderson again. Again, a bit of energy there from Brentford, and they're starting to find a little bit of space in and around the box now. That was good play. Given away there again. Shada up against Richards. He does well. Bit of an awkward ball though. Lacroix deals with it. Sarr oversteps his mark and gives it away to Damsgaard. Now on the right hand side, Rushlev flicks it on for Mbermo. On to Mitchell. Back to Norgard. Brentford a bit energised by that chance there from Vissa a few moments ago, and they're playing in between the lines here. Vissa! Oh, just blocked in the box there by Lacroix, but again, Brentford a bit more energetic at the minute now. More belief, probably, in the side. Starting to grow into the game a bit more. Vandenberg. Collins. Out wide to Rushlev. On to Damsgaard in between the lines. Lovely flick on by Mbermo. And Rushlev on the charge. And Vissa not getting it. And it will be a foul. Pulled back for a free kick. And a yellow card as well for Maxence Lacroix. I mean, I really wouldn't know what Maxence Lacroix would be arguing here, because he certainly didn't get the ball. Yeah, he just took the man clean out. It was really nice play again. Good combinations by Brentford down that right side. And Mbermo with a nice flick on. Rushlev continued his run in field, and Lacroix kind of takes him out. The ball continues for Vissa, but the referee pulls it back as it came to nothing in the end, and Lacroix gets himself a yellow card. And Palace have a free kick to defend here. In a good area for Brentford. Damsgaard and Mbermo are the two that are over the free kick at the moment. So as I said, it's to the right hand side of the goal. If you did measure a distance, you'd probably say about 25 yards out. 24 yards out maybe. To the right hand side of the goal, so you can certainly, it's within range. Mbermo will hit it. Oh, and hits it wide. Wasn't too far away. It kind of caught me off guard there for a second. Just outside the side netting. Quite close. It had the keeper scrambling, so it certainly had Dean Henderson worried, but And Bomo's effort off target in the end from the free kick. Long ball by Henderson. Over the top and in behind here for Mateta. Oh, who's just about dealt with by Keane Lewis-Potter. Just about. I think Mark Flecken got a hand to it as well, but one long ball over the top, right in behind the Brentford defence, who were too far forward. The full-backs actually retreated quicker than the centre-backs, which allowed Mateta to make the run in behind, and he almost caught off the Brentford defence there. And will be a Palace corner. One long ball, almost undoing Brentford defensively there. And Hughes trying to deal with the wind down this side to whip in this Crystal Palace corner. Delivered, bouncing around. Oh, cleared away to the edge of the box. Eze to pick it back up for Palace. Delivers it in, but too deep for anyone in there. And a goal kick will come for Brentford. Well, Crystal Palace aren't too unaccustomed to draws this season. They actually have the second most draws of any Premier League side this campaign. 9 draws in their 22 Premier League games. Only Brighton have drawn more games this campaign. It's not something that Brentford are used to. They've just 4 draws out of their 22 Premier League games. And that would be the second least draws of a Premier League side. Only Southampton would have less than them, so difference there in that terms. One of the new boys at Crystal Palace, Roman Esse, warming himself up on the sidelines there, joined in the January window, of course. A 19-year-old joined from Millwall for £12 million. Big money signing for Palace, as Mateta there's penalised for contact with Sepp van den Berg. And the referee errs on the side of the Brentford defender on that occasion, and he's just talking to the... I mean, I can see why the referee's given it here, because Mateta does leave a right arm out and does catch the face of Sepp van den Berg, but I can also see why Mateta's a bit frustrated with the fact that all he did was kind of try and hold off his defender in the end. But it is a foul. Brentford not doing much with that free kick. Here's Munoz into the middle, trying to play it in behind for Mateta. The ball was just too far wide for Mateta, dealt with by Van den Berg, as it goes out for a Palace throw on the far right hand side. Chance for the long throw to be seen here, with Lerma flicked on at the front post, bouncing around and bobbling, and there's going to be a free kick to Brentford here as a man in pink ends up on the ground. I think Chris Richards might have been involved in that one with Nathan Collins. The long throw, certainly a threat, it was flicked on at the near post and certainly created a bit of a scramble in the box. Couple of times already in this game we've seen that, where the ball's kind of dropped into an area and it's got a bit kind of pinballish in a sense. Lerma battling well in midfield, but the ball forward is to no one and it rolls out of play. 30 minutes gone here at Selhurst Park, 0-0. Both sides having ample opportunity to try and find the opening goal. nothing as of yet. Another new signing there in the crowd. Coyote joined Brentford on Friday, so of course wasn't registered in time to appear this afternoon. The ball over the top there by Palace, not dealt with, or not good enough, sorry, and easily recovered by Brentford. As Lewis Potter breaks down the left hand side here. Good challenge by Richards, wins it back, finds Hughes. Bit of space here for Palace. Mateta didn't know the ball was coming, but he dealt with it well. Seeing it last second, here's Mitchell wide on the left. Cuts it back to Eze. Eze on the edge of the box. And the shot straight at Mark Flecken. Better from Palace. There was space and they tried to exploit it. Lovely ball by Hughes. Mateta didn't know the ball was coming. He looked back, saw the ball was right at his feet, adjusted really well to evade off the defender, played it out wide to Mitchell, and then Mitchell comes back to the edge of the box for Eze to have a shot at the D. And the shot, this time on target from Aberi Eze, but comfortably gathered by Mark Flecken in the end. But it was better from Crystal Palace in those fast breaks. We've seen a lot more of that this season, and those fast breaks causing teams a lot of concern and a lot of problems. The quality of the attackers in the Premier League at this minute in time. Flecken under pressure there. Good from Brentford there to adjust. Deal with that situation as Lewis Potter goes over the top. Shadow on the run. Henderson committed himself there. He won the header. Got it down to Hughes in the middle. And it just seems like both sides have the match of each other, have the measure of the other at this minute in time. And yes, they're getting opportunities, but it's more down on individual quality than anything at this moment in time, where we're finding that kind of change in the game, where the pace is up, the chances are starting to come through. It's mostly due to the fact that both sides have good quality players. But that's what it could come down to. It could come down to one chance. It could come down to one moment in this game that could win it, because these two are so well matched in the league this season. In that previous meeting, in that reverse fixture on Matchday, I think it might have been the opening weekend of the season, I believe, that these two played each other. I actually believe it was. That they played each other, and in that game it was very close, it was very tight. The winner, of course, scored by Brentford late. Their first actual win against Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Oh, Palace coming forward here. Hughes down the left. Mitchell plays it onto Hughes in the box. Back to Tarek Mitchell wide. Bodies in the middle. If he can find one, has to cut it back to Gurhey. He will deliver. Gurhey too deep. Gathered by Flecken. But, you know, it's a common theme between these two. 5 draws out of their 7 Premier League meetings, and 5 draws in their first 5 Premier League meetings with each other. 2 0-0 draws and 3 1-all draws in those first 5. Then Palace got their first win, the first win of this fixture, back in December 2023 when they won 3-1 here, and then Brentford, of course, in the reverse fixture at the start of this season, won 2-1, getting their first victory in this fixture last time out. So very closely battling, these two teams, since Brentford were promoted a number of seasons ago, and that's why they're so well matched, and they're continuing to be well matched in the league this season. That was a poor header by Collins into the path of Ismail Assar. Rolls it for Aberi. Eze brought down. Not going to get a penalty. Well, one back apparently, according to the referee from Rushlev. And Hughes there, kind of taken out in the middle. Yeah, it wasn't a great header initially by Nathan Collins, and Ismail Assar does well, plays it into the path, and it was Collins that won the ball back. It was Eze trying to tick it around his defender, and that's a fabulous challenge. See why the referee didn't give the penalty, because it certainly wasn't a foul. Eze, a bit hesitant there. He probably should have taken the shot. He decided to try and tick it around Collins, and ended up getting nothing out of it. Palace do have a free kick here on the left-hand side. Around about 10 minutes to go in the first half here at Selhurst Park. Hughes and Eza over this free kick. Eza will deliver. Into the box it comes, and Lerma's header is wide. It was a good delivery by Eza right to the back post, and Jefferson Lerma up against Shada. Wins his battle but can't get the header on target. And it ends up just going wide of the right post. Another decent opportunity there for Crystal Palace. Not taken. Goal in the game in North London to tell you about. Tottenham have taken the lead against Leicester. Richarlison with the goal that gives Spurs the lead. Here's Brentford down the right side with Mbeumo. Again, good defending by Palace. He's stepping in well. Well, one back by Brentford at the back. Just seems like every good thing I say about one team, the other team responds with a good thing right after that. Stifling each other at the moment. Collins, poor first touch, but he actually does well to adjust and step into space. And now he's got a run on here. And Mbeumo down the right hand side. And Mbeumo to deliver. Cleared away by Guehi, but only as far as Norgard. I do expect there to be a few adjustments between these two at half time if it does end up goalless at the break. Of course, we've around about 8 minutes or so until that is the case, but you know, I do expect to see one or two adjustments from these two teams. One thing about these two managers, they are adaptable. They can change in game, especially Thomas Frank. We see it all the time in the games for Brentford. Not afraid to change things, not afraid to go for it when he needs to, not afraid to kind of add an extra defender in to kind of solidify a game of football. A very, very adaptable coach is Thomas Frank, and sometimes that's probably down breeding a lot into their success of the fact that their manager isn't stubborn. Here comes Mbeumo down the right side, trying to find Shada. Well, cleared away there by Lacroix. Good spin by Lerma, but kind of gets himself in a muddle. Vissa linking up with Mbeumo, and Vissa! His shot dragged wide. Yeah. Maybe got a bit of a snapshot there, Johan Vissa. Again, Lerma thought that he had kind of won it back and trying to spin away from the Brentford forwards, but ultimately runs into Johan Vissa, gives it away, and Mbeumo and Vissa, that great link up for Brentford, almost working once again as Vissa's shot ended up going wide, but another good opportunity there for Brentford on the press. Lovely ball over the top by Wissa into Shada's path, who's well marshalled by Daniel Munoz there. Oh, beautiful individual skill by Damsgaard. Breaking down the left, cuts it back for Vissa. Heavy first touch, will be a corner as Lerma puts it behind. But that was fabulous play by Mikkel Damsgaard from the throw-in. Surrounded by 4 Crystal Palace players. Bursts his way down the left, jinking and kind of weaving his way through them. And as he comes down the right side, cuts it back. Maybe a bit too much pace on the cross to Vissa. Does come off Lerma and goes behind for the corner, but that was really, really top quality play by Mikkel Damsgaard there. Gets Brentford a corner, of which Crystal Palace have to defend. Damsgaard with a delivery, flicked on the header, but header wide by Sepp van den Berg. Yeah, a better delivery from the corner this time, but again, the header not finding the right area for Brentford there. Onto the foul there, Palace. Weren't going to get it. Norgard now, looking for the ball over the top, finding Mbeumo on the run, down the right side, up against Mitchell. Mbeumo ticks on his man, tries to get to the byline, but Guehi sees it out and ushers it out for a goal kick. And no surprise that Brian Mbeumo has been a big threat for Brentford down that right-hand side, but so far well dealt with by Crystal Palace. Eze with a flick-on header. One in the middle by Norgard, given away to Gerhi. He goes over the top, looking for the run of Mateta. Battling with Collins, and Collins does well to spin away from the Frenchman. Damsgaard caught in possession there by Hughes. Flicks it forward for Mateta, but too far ahead of the centre forward, and again Brentford can come away with it, but Mbeumo there. Heavy first touch, and it goes out for a Crystal Palace throw. Just seems like Crystal Palace, when they do turn up the tempo a little bit, they are actually playing better football. It's when they are a bit more methodical and a bit slower and a bit more kind of purposeful. They do kind of overthink it in a sense and kind of overplay themselves. Whereas when they're kind of working on instinct and those quick, pacey plays, that's when they're getting their joy. So far, as Jefferson Lerma wants to go for another long throw, this time from the left side. And there's going to be a retake. They're going to retake this because there was a Palace player down in the box. Whatever that was about. I think Mark he's trying to argue that he was being held by Majrushlev there. Rushlev claiming his innocence. And I mean, there's really nothing in that. That's quite embarrassing for Mark Gerhi that he actually went down from that position. It was kind of both getting a hold of each other, but nothing in it. Lerma, long throw, flicked on there by the Palace players, and they couldn't get it on. Well, that's a nice ball in behind here for Sarr with a shot. Oh, right across, and I think there was someone trying to find the ball at the back post. It was Gerhi, and he almost got himself to it. Again, flicked on by Crystal Palace, yes, in the middle. It was good play by Mateta, who flicked it on, cleared away, and the ball came back out to Ismail Assar on the right-hand side. He fizzed the ball across the 6-yard box. Gerhi stretching, couldn't reach it, and the ball went wide, but another good opportunity for Crystal Palace. As we edge ever closer to half-time, it looks like we might have a game that is level going into the interval. It's a well-won header by Lerma. Mateta trying to run in behind Collins. A crucial challenge to get it away from danger on that occasion. Again, Lerma winning the battle in the middle. Eze trying to play it onto Sarr, but couldn't keep the possession there. Sarr. It's got a bit unsettled, the game at the moment. Using Mbeumo. Again, surrounded by 3, but he does get the pass off to Damsgaard. He tries to return it. Here is Brian Mbeumo. Oh, well blocked by Maxence Lacroix. Again, that was better from Brentford. Again, it looked like Mbeumo, surrounded by 3 Palace players, looked like he was at no man's land. He was going nowhere. Plays a nice ball through to Damsgaard. He kind of forced it through. And Damsgaard going for the 1-2 approach. Plays it back to Mbeumo and tries to shoot it across goal. Well blocked by Maxence Lacroix. It goes out for a throw-in, but better play from Brentford. Last minute of the first 45. Throw in on the right side. Long throw into the box. Flicked on by Norgard. Cleared away by Eze there. And out for another throw-in to Brentford on the right-hand side. Throw in to Damsgaard. Norgard trying to find a way through. Whips a cross in. Just overhits it as Vissa retrieves on the left-hand side. Lewis Potter into the box it goes. Flicked on around the corner for Norgard, who tries to cut it back, but into the hands of Henderson, who's got space to try and get Palace on the break, but there is no want to do that. And that actually ends the first half. No added time at the end of the first half, which might actually tell you a lot as to how the first half has gone. There's really been a lot of good play from both teams, but nothing of major quality where we would say that either side should be ahead. Both have had half chances, both have had good opportunities, but nothing quite clear cut in the first half for either side. Very well matched here in this London derby at Selhurst Park. At half time, it's Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0.
Call me a god. Call me a god. Call me a god. Call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine.
Welcome back to Premier League Live at half-time at Selhurst Park in our first game of the day between Crystal Palace and Brentford, and there's goalless between the two sides in this London derby. To start off our Sunday afternoon of action already, we have those two games underway, as well at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Tottenham take on Leicester, Spurs leading by a goal to nil. At the break in that one, Richarlison with the goal has Tottenham leading at the break there. Later on this afternoon, as you can see on the schedule for this Premier League weekend, Aston Villa take on West Ham United a bit later on this afternoon, a 4:30 kickoff at Villa Park. And Aston Villa side at the moment on a high from where they are in the Champions League, albeit defeat in the week in the Champions League, 8th in the Premier League, but can push themselves closer to that clutch of teams in the top 7. They can't go above any of those teams, but they can close the gap to a single point between those two teams, those teams above them, if they can win this afternoon. A West Ham side under Graham Potter, who are in a bit of a mixed form. Lost last week to Palace, but won his first game in the Premier League in charge, beating Fulham by 3-2. West Ham side in need of a win to kind of pull them away further from that relegation battle of that clutch of relegation teams and push themselves up the table, which would be a very condensed mid-table if they can win later on. We will see. And then Fulham Manchester United rounds off the Premier League weekend. Right, speaking of the Premier League weekend, yesterday we had 6 results in the Premier League. Some big ones, some changes at the top of the table, and a lot of big moments yesterday. So we're going to recap everything that happened for you from yesterday's 6 games in detail at half-time now, and analyse, of course, the first half between Crystal Palace and Brentford as well. We'll do that in a couple of moments' time. But so far, let's recap how Matchday 23 has gone to this point. There we are, match day 23 so far. We're getting quite the way into the season now. After this weekend, 15 games to go in the season. After this weekend, really looking forward to the final stretch coming in the next few months. But already this weekend, as I said, 6 games already concluded and all taking place yesterday. No lunchtime game yesterday. Fulham Manchester United was meant to be that lunchtime game, but of course moved due to Manchester United's commitments to the Europa League on Thursday. which of course they beat Rangers at Old Trafford on Thursday night. But we started yesterday with the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Five 3 o'clock kickoffs yesterday for you, and starting with another 5. A huge result for Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. Two sides this season who have probably exceeded expectations quite drastically with how their campaigns have gone to this point. I'll talk about Palace very shortly, but Bournemouth up into 7th, pushing up the table, really battling in and around those top teams. Even Nottingham Forest doing even better than that. They're in the top 4. They were even second for a while this season, were Nottingham Forest. They've had an incredible season so far, but a day to forget yesterday when Bournemouth unleashed an absolute drubbing on Nottingham Forest. It was only 1-0 at half-time. Justin Kluivert, of course, who can't stop scoring at the moment, scored a hat-trick against Newcastle last week and got a good goal to open the scoring yesterday for Bournemouth. So they were 1-0 up at half-time, quite an even game. A couple of tweaks from Forest made at half-time. But again, it just seemed like yesterday, watching the highlights last night, it just seemed like Bournemouth had that extra bit of energy and belief about them, and everything they did had purpose yesterday, and it was quite clear. Dango Ouattara got the next 3 goals, the second, the third and the fourth, committing a hat-trick, the second successive game where Bournemouth have had a hat-trick hero in the game. They had a goal cancelled out as well in that mix as well, with Justin Kluivert could have had his second, and Antoine Semenyo in the 91st minute got the 5th and final goal for Bournemouth. An absolute drubbing for Forest, an absolute incredible day for Bournemouth. It seemed like everything they were doing yesterday worked out for them, and they got the 3 points in a big win for Bournemouth that moved them up to 7th on 40 points. They are just 1 point off the top 4, Bournemouth, and are 7 points off second placed Arsenal, a good distance away from top spot. But 7th for Bournemouth is exactly where they would want to be. Forest stay in 3rd, but under a bit of pressure now from those below them. A big win for David Moyes' Everton as well yesterday. Everton, who struggled in their first game under David Moyes with that home defeat to Aston Villa, but bouncing back with that big win against Spurs last weekend, and kind of backing it up with a big win away at Brighton. A tough side to beat this season, a very tough side. Even the top teams struggling against Brighton this season, but Everton went to the Amex, took the lead in the first half from the penalty spot when Iliman Ndiaye gave them that lead in the first half, and basically defended for the almost exclusively defensively in the second half to see out that 1-0 victory. It's the most Everton type result that you will see, and David Moyes is there to get them points and to get them up the table and away from battling relegation. 2 wins in a row for David Moyes' Everton has them sitting quite pretty above those teams in the relegation fight. They're 7 points clear of Wolves now, and a good distance away from the bottom 3. Right, Liverpool, the league leaders, the other side of Merseyside, also having a good day yesterday, where they compounded Ipswich's 6-0 defeat from Manchester City last weekend and made it another drubbing, another poor result from Ipswich. A tough spell of fixtures for them, and they're certainly feeling it as Liverpool get their 16th win of the season out of 22 Premier League games, and keep their gap at the top to 6 points against runners second placed Arsenal. At the moment, Liverpool looking comfortable at the top of the league. They were actually 4-0 up inside 65 minutes. Dominic Szoboszlai opened the scoring. Salah got his 176th Premier League goal of his career, making him the 7th all-time top scorer of the Premier League era. And Cody Gakpo with a brace made it 4. A late consolation from Jacob Greaves. As Arne Slot said, it was the only disappointment of the day for Liverpool that they couldn't keep a clean sheet. So the league leaders cruising their way, and maybe have they come out the other side of that little blip. 3 wins in a row now for Arne Slot's Liverpool in all competitions. A big win for Newcastle, a much needed win after their real embarrassing result at home against Bournemouth last weekend. They actually went 1-0 down away to Southampton yesterday. Jan Bednarek opened the scoring for the Saints, but quickly that was eradicated, and it was Newcastle that were leading at the break. Alexander Isak from the penalty spot, and then the second came just minutes after the penalty to make it 2-1 to Newcastle. Tonali got the third just after half-time, which was enough to wrap up the points for Newcastle on the south coast. They move back up to 5th on 41 points and are just outside the top 4 on goal difference, are Newcastle United. Well, a squeaky bum time for Arsenal yesterday. A very close game and a very hard-fought victory for the Gunners yesterday. They went down to 10 in the first half away to Wolves when Miles Lewis-Skelly was controversially sent off by the referee Michael Oliver. The VAR checked it and confirmed it was a red card. Then in the second half, they made a change which did turn out to be crucial for Arsenal. Ricardo Calafiori came on at half-time, a little tweak for Mikel Arteta's side. João Gomez then got himself sent off, the second yellow for Wolves, a completely ridiculous foul. This one certainly a yellow, a second yellow, maybe even a straight red in and of itself, that one for João Gomez. He got himself sent off, which meant just minutes after Wolves went down to 10, and then we're back to 10 apiece, 10 each in the game. For players on the field, Ricardo Calafiori, the substitute at half-time for Arsenal, got the winning goal to convert a big victory for the Gunners to make sure they don't lose any more ground on the league leaders Liverpool. But hard expended game for Arsenal and a tough week for them. Speaking of tough weeks, Manchester City looking to bounce back from that absolute collapse against PSG in the Champions League in midweek, and they did so against Chelsea with a few new signings on their debut. Omar Marmoush and their defender Abdukir Kusunov starting in that one for Manchester City, and they got the victory. They went 1-0 down when Kusunov actually made the mistake that allowed Noni Madueke to open the scoring inside 3 minutes. Joško Vardiol got the leveller just before half-time, before in the second half it was all Manchester City as Erling Haaland and Phil Foden wrapped up the result for City. It's a good run of form for City. Bar that PSG result, it is now at 7 of the last 8 games without defeat. That only defeat was to PSG, and that almost all of them exclusively coming in 2025. So the turn of the year, maybe a turn of fortunes for Manchester City. Certainly Premier League wise, back-to-back victories in the league for City. Yesterday, and that is high. Yesterday ended up a very, very good day for those teams at the top of the table, with Newcastle, Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool and Bournemouth all getting big victories. The only side in the top 7 that didn't win yesterday was, of course, two sides, Forest and Chelsea, both falling a little bit from their very good positions. A disappointing day for Wolves, who lost, of course, with Southampton bottom of the table as well. Ipswich down there, Everton with a big win, and Brighton kind of losing ground on those teams above them with that defeat at home. That's how yesterday went. We've still got more to come today, because the second half between Crystal Palace and Brentford, where it's goalless at the break, is on the way next. Do stay with us.
Call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine.
Welcome back to Premier League Live, second half at Selhurst Park on the way in just a moment. But don't forget, another game to come for you later on this afternoon at Villa Park, where Aston Villa take on West Ham United. 4:30 kickoff there as the two teams in claret and blue battle in that one a bit later on. West Ham looking to bounce back from that defeat to Palace last weekend. Villa also looking to bounce back from that defeat in the Champions League in midweek. So lots to do a bit later on. Right, we're about to get underway for the second half. Brentford are out and waiting, and Palace just returning to the field of play, which gives me time to tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated. We're on the road to 25,000, and you see in the top right corner there, 24,900 odd. So we're getting very close, and each and every one of you joining us, it's greatly appreciated to have you with us this afternoon. Right, we're almost ready to go then for this second 45 here at Selhurst. Elsewhere as that other 2 o'clock kickoff, Spurs against Leicester. It is 1-0 to Tottenham at the break. Richarlison with that goal that has Spurs leading, and a much needed victory for Spurs this afternoon. We'll see if they can convert that in the second half, as well as Brentford get us back on the way here in South London, where there's a very closely fought game in the first half between these two. And we'll see if they can kind of get the edge in the second half and maybe turn a draw into a victory, whichever way that could go. Of course, Palace kicking from right to left, Brentford from left to right in the second half. Wonder if that will make a difference. Who knows? Seemed a bit windier down the right hand side of the field, where Palace were kicking towards in that first half. They had a bit of a struggle at dealing with those corners in that first half, and kind of keeping them in the area to kind of get the ball in. There's an early throw in here for Crystal Palace. Jefferson Lerma's going to unleash that long throw once again. Right on this right hand side, Lerma. To the box it comes, bouncing all the way through, bouncing down! Lacroix was there, and it's over the bar. Goal kick. I think it was Guéhi that got on the end of it in the end, but again, it comes all the way through. No, it doesn't. It bounces right down in front of Collins, who kind of bobbles it off Yanelt, and then it comes right into the path of Maxence Lacroix. Couldn't get a clean touch on it. In the end, Lacroix half cleared by Viss as it falls for Guéhi, who put it over the bar. Good opportunity for Palace there. Those long throws causing problems. Not able to find the finish on that occasion. You weren't too far away though. This Norgaard's crossfield ball is not on it to its targets. Lerma. Now Mitchell. Guéhi over the top. And Mateta making that run, but Collins does well. Rushlev, Collins under pressure. Tries to get it up the line, but Mateta's there to put the pressure on the Brentford defender and get Palace a throw down this left-hand side. It was very good from Jean-Philippe Mateta. Throw-in's actually gone Palace's way here, so another long throw. They're certainly identifying that. Here they come again, another long throw, flicked on. Flicked away by Collins. Mitchell does well on the turn. Past Damsgaard, back to Lerma. He will deliver. Low. Cleared away. And now Mbermo has the counter-attack here for Brentford. Shada, Vissa and Mbermo busting a gut to get forward. Here's Johan Vissa. Skipping his way towards the edge of the box. And the shot is right into the hands of Dean Henderson. Again, it seemed like that counter-attack lasted a really long time. It was bursting away. It was a 3-on-1 for Brentford. And Brentford's lack of kind of pace in the counter-attack allowed Palace to get bodies back. If they were a bit more kind of gung-ho with it on the counter, a bit more pace in it, it could have been more threatening, but Palace got bodies back well, and Brentford couldn't really make the most of it in the end from that counter-attack that initially looked very promising. Eze. Lovely turn. Not a great pass though, give it away. Although Brentford returned the favour with Norgaard giving it back to Lerma. Here's Eze. Hughes. Lerma. Out to the right hand side is Richards. On to Munoz. Munoz with delivery. Headed away. Not convincingly cleared. Here's Eze in the box. Well marshalled there by Norgard as he comes away with the ball. Tries to send in Burma on a run, but that will not be going anywhere near danger, as Guhi will recover for Crystal Palace. We have another goal in North London to explain to you. And I said, Leicester need the points. They need something out of that game. Spurs need a win. Well, it looks like the away side have certainly shown that fight, and they're back on terms. It is 1-1 in that one in North London, and Jamie Vardy got the equalising goal. Quite interestingly, this was another matchup from the first game of the season, which ended 1-1. Spurs had a 1-goal lead at the break. Jamie Vardy scored at the start of the second half, and it ended 1-1. And it might be playing out the exact same way in the reverse fixture in North London. 1-1 between Spurs and Leicester. That's poor there between Norgard and Collins. That gets a cheer from the home crowd. Richards. Munoz back to Chris Richards. Lacroix putting his keeper under pressure there as Henderson goes long. Dealt with by Janelt, but couldn't find a teammate as Palace have it in the middle here with, I believe that was, yeah, it was Lacroix. It's well taken. They tried to take it quickly actually, and the referee wouldn't allow it. Palace take that free kick. We have another goal in North London. What a start to the second half for Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester. They've turned it around. They lead by 2-1 now. It is Bilal El Khanous with the second goal. It is Spurs 1, Leicester 2. Spurs, it's not getting any better for Tottenham. They've lost 5 of their last 9 in all competitions. Have Spurs. They won in the week, but kind of in a close battle with Hoffenheim in the end. They've lost the last 2 Premier League games, away to Everton, away to Arsenal. They've had it really tough, have Spurs, and they actually looking to avoid it becoming quite an incredibly bad run of form. They've lost 5 of the last 6 in the Premier League. This could be 6 out of the last 7, which would be a real major crisis for Ange Postecoglou's team. There is an issue here at the moment. There is a player down on the field for Brentford, so there might be a change incoming here as Matthias Jensen's getting himself ready on the sidelines at the moment. But that would be a huge 3 points if Leicester can hold on there. They would be outside of the bottom 3. They would be in 17th on 17 points and a point above both Wolves and Ipswich, who've both lost this weekend. So could be a big day for Leicester if they can convert this, but a long way to go in that one, and we know Spurs are show no shortage of goal scoring this season. It is Christian Norgard who's down, and I think it might be the end of his afternoon because he's just taken his captain's armband off and given it to the referee. So this will be the end of the afternoon for Christian Norgard, which you don't want to see for any player. Kind of might have hurt himself in that little battle with Jefferson Lerma a bit earlier in the game, but will be the end of the day for Christian Norgard, and Matthias Jensen will be coming on, so a straight swap there. One Danish player for another for Brentford in the midfield. He is able to walk off Christian Norgard, which, albeit in the circumstances, probably could be a bit of a positive to take out of this situation. If they're losing their captain, the man who replaces Norgard will take the captain's armband, Jensen. Norgard will just go straight down the tunnel. So that's not particularly a good sign for Brentford. Losing your captain in what has been such a close game so far in this one. Here's Eze down the left-hand side for Crystal Palace. Plays it infield to Lerma's got a bit of space here. Lerma will shoot, but again straight at the goalkeeper. A lot of times where there is space in the edge of the D for Palace, they've had a couple of shots from that area this afternoon. Now, of course, it makes it more difficult farther out to kind of get it past the goalkeeper, and a couple of those shots have come right down the throat of Mark Flecken, but it's clearly something they've identified before the game as where they can try and exploit Brentford. Although the couple of times they have got into those areas, their shooting hasn't been particularly the best from Crystal Palace. That's where Palace have actually had a bit of a tough time of it this season. 25 Premier League goals scored in their 22 games up to this point. They actually don't rank pretty well in terms of Premier League terms for goal scoring this season. They actually sit 17th for goals scored this season. Only 3 sides have scored less than them this season. As Eze comes forward there and gets taken out around the edge of the box, and Vitaly Janelt's going to get a yellow card for that challenge. I mean, there's no question. It was a pretty cynical one from Vitaly Janelt. He knew Eze was going to try and burst past him, and he wasn't going to let him. And did take Aberi Eze out there quite convincingly. And the Brentford man gets a yellow card, his 3rd of the season for Vitaly Janelt. And now a good free kick shooting opportunity here for Crystal Palace. 25 Premier League goals scored this season. The same as Leicester, who at the moment have scored 2 today. But the only 3 teams with less goals than Palace this season would be bottom side Southampton, Ipswich as well, and Everton. All relegation battlers. Their defence has held up well, and that's what we've seen this afternoon. Hughes and Eze over this free kick. Bit to the left, around about 20 yards out. Eze will hit it. Hits the edge of the wall and hits the post. Munoz gets it back in. And again, over the very far wide, that from Daniel Munoz. That was inches away from an opener there for Crystal Palace. Aberi Eze's free kick comes off one of the Brentford wall. I think it is Sepp Vandenberg. Comes off his left thigh, bounces away from the goalkeeper, had no chance. It comes off the post, and is ever so close for Aberi Eze to find the opening goal. Quite unorthodox it would have been, but it would have counted nonetheless. But it hit the post. Brentford, a bit of fortune there. And will be another free kick here for Crystal Palace. Brentford getting a bit physical, but at the moment not getting very much success out of it. Another free kick here, much further back this time for Crystal Palace, about 35 yards out here. So quite a distance away from goal for Eze and Hughes to come over this free kick again. And they're going to stop it here, the referees. Palace were ready to move in motion. Get another go. Here we go again. Hughes leaves it. Eze will take. Right-footed. Flicked on by Richards. But again, comfortably gathered by Mark Flecken. Just at the moment, Palace are getting in the right areas. Just not being clinical. The shots are shots that the goalkeeper really should be saving. Really just catching practice for Mark Flecken yet in this game. And Bomo, lovely touch on the outside. And Bomo with a cross. Away by Gurhey. Only as far as the wide player. Oh, the shot. Almost catching out Dean Henderson there on the far left side. Really good. I mean, initially fabulous play by Bomo. Breaks past Hughes. Gets into the box. Gurhey flicks it away. And it comes out wide. I think it might be Keane Lewis Potter. It kind of to fizz it back in. And as he does, at the back post, no one there. It kind of curls towards Dean Henderson, who has to force it behind for a save. Across that turned into a shot and almost caught out the Palace goalkeeper. Corner for Brentford. Burma will take on the right hand side. Left footed delivery. Brought down by Henderson, up in the air it goes again. Lewis Potter's keeping it alive. Sepp Vandenberg's in there as well, but Palace get it clear. Only as far as Jensen. He goes back to Roerslev, who goes back to Flecken. He will dump it long again. Over the top it goes. Away by Lacroix. Brought down by Eze. He's trying to do a bit of dribbling. Dribbles past Mbermo there. Back with Mitchell, who gets his feet all muddled and puts it out for a Brentford throw. 30 minutes to go. Palace 0, Brentford 0 at the hour mark here at Selhurst Park. Certainly both sides have had more attacking intent in the second half, but the same result sees it no change in the scoreline to this point. Now Lerma, Palace's number 8, has been interesting on throw-ins. Jensen's taken a throw, whipped in there by Damsgaard, cleared away by Richards, not far though. Back in. Again, around the box. Hughes was in the way of a clearance there. Wanted a handball to the Brentford fans. A man goes down. Penalty to Brentford. I mean, this is really not dealt with at all by Crystal Palace. It's really poor defending. Really struggling to get the ball out of their own box. And I said that was something that Palace did very well in that first half, where they sustained pressure from set pieces in and around the box on one or two occasions. But Brentford do the exact same at this end. And we see it again. Ball bobbling into the box. Collins goes for it. Lacroix flicks out a leg. Doesn't really get much contact, to be honest. But it's a stray leg. It's a dangerous leg. It was lifted into the air. And from the referee's point of view, it's quite clearly a penalty. And I doubt that will be overturned by VAR, because the referee had a clear view. And Tony Harrington pointed to the spots. And now it's a chance that Brentford have been waiting for. 8 out of 8 in the Premier League from penalties for Brian Mbermo. Mbermo stepping back up against Henderson. Mbermo steps up. Little bobble off the post and wide from the follow-up. His first missed penalty in the Premier League keeps it at 0-0. Brian Mbermo tried to go for the little hop and a skip before he took it. Tried to hit it with the instep of his left foot. Crashed off the post, bouncing back out and put behind. I think Gurhey got a flick onto it on the rebound, but that was really poor from Mbermo. And it ends up coming to nothing. But a huge moment not taken by Brentford. Although, what's the referee querying here? They might be checking for possible encroachment. So there might be a retake coming here. See it again. Well, there is. There's about 3 Brentford. There's 3 Crystal Palace players in the box there. But do they make an important challenge? If Gurhey's in the box, then it is encroachment, because he is involved. There's about 3 or 4 players for Palace in the box, but they don't impact the game. If Gurhey's in the box and he does impact it, then it would be encroachment. But is he inside the box is the question. I would say no. Well, he's inside the D, actually, which you're also not allowed to do. I would say this is encroachment. They're checking it over at the VAR. Might get another shot at this, Brian Mbermo. Might be kind of thanking his lucky stars that he might get a second opportunity. The VAR Darren England waiting to relay that whatever message he's going to relay to Tony Harrington to let us know whether it will be a retake, and it will be. So Mark Gurhey, the Palace captain, encroached on the penalty, was inside the D when the penalty was taken, and therefore impacted the rebound not going in, so therefore encroached, and Brian Mbeumo will get a second chance. A bit of a crazy last 5 minutes here. The penalty given, taken, hit the post, rebound cleared behind. Encroachment now on the penalty. We'll see Brentford get a second shot at it, and Brian Mbeumo a second chance to keep his record alive. Brian Mbeumo for the second time, up against Henderson. Hop and a skip, and does convert the penalty. Goes the opposite way, but a different result this time. Sees Brentford take the lead, and Brian Mbeumo makes it 9 out of 9 from the penalty spot in the Premier League. Mark Gurhey and Dean Henderson will complain, but their arguments and complaints will fall on deaf ears because Brentford take the lead. Gurhey can't argue the fact that he did encroach from the first penalty. It allowed the retake, and it allowed Brian Mbeumo to give Brentford the lead. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 1. He didn't change his technique, which is quite interesting from Brian Mbeumo. He clearly believes in it, in the way that he takes penalties, and so far up to this point, bar that encroached penalty, maybe got a bit lucky, but bar that one, he scored them all, so 9 out of 9. There we are. Can Brentford take control of this one now? Can they get the first double over Crystal Palace in the Premier League history? They got their first win against Palace in the Premier League in the reverse fixture back in August. Can they make it back-to-back victories? Dean Henderson got a yellow card there moments ago for, I believe, arguing with the referee, so he's found himself in the book of Tony Harrington today as Mateta tried to break in behind, but Fleckham was quick. Got it clear. Jensen just about getting it away from Munoz there. Well, Palace will need to be a bit more attacking, will need to be a bit more adventurous in the last quarter of this game. They've got nothing to lose now. They're 1-0 down. They've got something to fight for and try and battle back. But now Brentford have got something to hold on to, which could be of equal concern. Henderson. Right to Richards. Just about keeps it in play. Lacroix will go long forward. Mateta with a flick-on header, but again brought down at the back there by Sepp van den Berg. Over the top it goes from Collins. One for Shada to chase. Does bubble up. Shada will get it against Lacroix and will win a corner for Brentford. Sorry. Maybe a bit more confidence flowing about Brentford now with the fact that they have taken the lead and they do have the advantage in this one. And one thing I have failed to mention to you in the second half, the rain has kind of eased off a little bit. It's still raining, but it's eased off a little bit in the game as referee not particularly happy with the corner positioning. Again, for Mikkels Damsgaard, but he'll get the chance to take it here. Short to Mbeumo, back to Damsgaard, working the angle, whips it in. Headed away by Lacroix. Nice ball forward by Jensen. Into Janelt. Collins with a delivery, flicked on, shot, almost at the back post there for Johan Vissa, who couldn't reach the ball. But Brentford looking to find that second, and they were ever so close to getting it there, with Kevin Shada's flick on, almost finding the head of Johan Vissa in the middle. Blecken's ball forward caused a bit of confusion for Palace, but they do have the ball here. Mateta dealing with that one. Out it goes for a Palace throw on the far right hand side off Damsgaard. Vissa trying to break away. Loose ball given away to Eza, who will shoot, but dragged wide from Aberi Eza. Similar to the one of the first half, where Eza broke forward into space, turned away from his man, and had the shot around about the edge of the D. This time the shot, again, dragged wide of that right post. And a bit of a slip on that one, on the ball as he connected with it. Well, Brentford don't have a great away record, we know that this season. Just one win away from home in their 10 away games this season. 2 draws and 7 defeats. Brentford actually went quite a while without a point on the road this season in the Premier League. Bit of a late leg there from Johan Vissa, which gets Crystal Palace a free kick. They actually lost their first 5 away games before picking up a point away at Everton in the Premier League. They got their first Premier League away win of the season last time out against Southampton. Their only win in their last 9 in all competitions for Brentford, so a bit of a lone result for them in recent games. And actually, quite interestingly, in those 3 games where Brentford have picked up points away from home, they haven't conceded. They've kept clean sheets in all 3 of those away games where they've picked up points. Everton, Brighton and Southampton. So, certainly when they do show themselves on the road, they are very defensively solid, which they have been today, quite honestly. As there is a change here for Crystal Palace. Eddie Nketiah has just come onto the field of play, so had an extra bit of attack and threat. Looks like it's Ismaila Sarr that's made way at this juncture. So a change in attack for Crystal Palace with a bit more urgency about them. There's a yellow card coming here for Keane Lewis Potter for time wasting, not taking the throw in quick enough to the referee's liking. He gets himself a booking. It's 4th of the season for the Brentford left back. Henderson throws the ball out to Richards on the right hand side. And Phil linking up with Nketiah, and into Mateta, who was held there by Sepp van den Berg. Free kick to Palace. Guehi. Mitchell back to Mark Guehi. Lacroix. When we talk about Brentford's away form, Palace don't have a great home record either. 2 wins so far this season at home. Here's at Selhurst Park as Hughes tried to get forward there. Again, Brentford winning the ball back in and around their own defensive third. Gurhey's header to right to no one there, and one back by Brentford. Maybe trying to force the issue a bit too quickly, our Palace. Well, Brentford giving it away there cheaply as well. That's one thing also today. Both sides haven't really sustained possession quite well. Both have kind of offered the other a chance on the ball. More often I think both of their managers would have liked this afternoon, as again trying to turn away was Nketiah, but run into Brentford opponents. Well, one back there by Lerma though, and now gets Eze on the break. Here's a Barry Eze on the left side, edge of the box, on the turn. Finds Will Hughes, oncoming under the ball. Hughes charged down by Vissa. That shot kept alive by Gurhey. 15 minutes to go. Palace 0, Brentford 1. Gurhey. Hughes. Cross to Palace captain again. Brentford sitting in shape, waiting for their moment to pounce, and they've won it back again off Jensen, given away by Shada as quickly as they won it. Here is Gurhey in space, flicking it on with Nketiah, but Mateta couldn't control the ball, and it rolls all the way through. The attempt is there, the intensity's there, the certainly intention is there for Palace. It's just not working at the moment, not clicking. Not coming off for Crystal Palace. As I said, 2 wins at home this season in their 11 home games in the Premier League at Selhurst Park. 4 defeats, 5 draws. They scored 10 goals at home, so they've scored more away from home than at home this season, Crystal Palace. Long throw in coming here for Jefferson Lerma on the left hand side. On it goes. Bouncing down away from the box there. Back with Lerma. Mitchell. Cross blocked there by Rushlev. Another throw in for Palace. Counted this right, this might be the 6th long throw in of the game for Palace. Lerma into the box, flicked on at the front post. Oh, and wasn't caught right by Nketiah at the back, and cleared away by Brentford. And Munoz retreats it back to Henderson, looking to build again, keep the Palace players up the field. That's where they need to be at the moment. And there's a foul here, given away by Jean-Philippe Mateta, which will give Brentford a free kick in their own half and chance for them to regroup. We haven't had much of an update from North London in the last few minutes. It's still Tottenham who trailed Leicester by 2-1 at the moment. El Canusa's goal is the difference between the two sides in that one at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Mitchell goes long up the left. Well, it won by Janelt in the air. Shada, nice control, finds Rushlev. He's brought down by Eze, and that's well won by Maz Rushlev. Free kick for Brentford on the right hand side. Yeah, it's just a pull on the left arm there by Barry Eze. Certainly a foul. And it's another set piece for Brentford. Try and find the edge. The second goal for Brentford here would be huge. Would all but wrap up the 3 points for them. As both sides readying some changes in a moment after this free kick, of which Damsgaard and Burma were over. And Burma with delivery, cleared away. That time by Lerma. Back with Brentford on the halfway line. Merslev forced back to his keeper. Flecken, who goes long. As Palace pressed to win the ball back. Flicked on. Forward. Well dealt with at the back there by Collins. Played on now to Kevin Shada, who has space to break. Down the right side is Damsgaard. Mikkel Damsgaard up against Mitchell. Cuts inside. Goes to the back post. Header is in! By Kevin Shada. Fabulous goal. He might have injured himself in the process, but that is a wonderful goal. Great delivery by Damsgaard. Great header by Kevin Shada. And he certainly, I think, hurt himself in the process of this. But committed to the very last. And got his just rewards for it. And Brentford have doubled their lead. Again, it's fabulous from Shada. Again, he has space to break into. Does well to find Damsgaard on the right-hand side. He chops on the inside of Mitchell. Gets it into a real battled area. Two Palace players in the mix with Shada. Gets the better of it, and as he heads it on, he kind of headbutts Chris Richards. Both players feeling the pain of that. Just beyond the reach of Henderson. And it's a wonderful goal. And very well taken by Shada. And Brentford have a bit of daylight here. And that's his 6th of the season for Brentford. They're certainly spreading the goals. And Kevin Shada, their 3rd top goal scorer this season for Brentford in the Premier League. The only 2 players with more, you can quickly guess them, Brandon Burmo and Johan Vissa. And Mikkel Damsgaard has 8 Premier League assists this season, which equals Brentford's club record, which Brandon Burmo currently holds of 8. So he gets another assist. He will break a Premier League record for Brentford. So 2-0, and they're going to make those changes now. Crystal Palace, albeit in a much more difficult position now for them. It will be Daichi Kamada, and it looks like it will be a debut for Roman Esse as well. So a change here. So coming off for Palace, it's going to see Chris Richards leave the field, and Will Hughes and Daichi Kamada and Roman Esse are coming on. Now, let me just tell you, it's Roman Esse and Ebere Eze. There's a difference. It's going to be minimal of a difference on the other pronunciation, but there is a difference. There's an Esse and an Eze. I mean, fantastic, isn't it? But a debut for Roman Esse, and a chance maybe to give himself something positive for his manager to look back on for this one. 19 years old. As I said, joined from Millwall for £12 million over a week ago, and has a contract until 2030 at this club, so seen as a really good prospect for the future. That's one thing Crystal Palace have been really good at spotting in recent seasons, is real good quality young players. As Kevin Shada, after receiving treatment after scoring his goal, is okay. Chris Richards is coming off, but he's still in pain on the pitch, so he's just being held back to his feet. So both players coming off with a bit of pain from that little collision. Don't forget, another game to come for you in around less than an hour's time, as Aston Villa take on West Ham United in the Battle of the Claret and Blue at Villa Park at 4:30. West Ham in need of a win. Villa looking to bounce back from Champions League disappointment in midweek. We will see how they end up. At 4:30 that kicks off. I was just having a look there. Crystal Palace made changes, so a double change for them. But Brentford also made a change at the moment, and it's Yehor Yarmolyuk that has come on to the field to play. At this moment, I believe it might have been Kevin Shada, but I've no confirmation of that at this moment in time. but it does look like that's the case. Is it? Deliver into the box, back post, across, and it's in! And it's a debut goal for Roman Issa. On the pitch, just a matter of seconds, and with his first touch of the game, has got Crystal Palace back in the game. Talk about an impact substitute on your debut, and a way to show that you are one for the future. Roman Issa, with his first touch of the game, has Crystal Palace on the score sheets. Eza with a delivery to the back post, across the box from Munoz, cut back into the path of Roman Issa, and he delivers really nicely in off the inside of the post, and Crystal Palace back in the game. Might not be over yet. Crystal Palace 1, Brentford 2. And this will be a real battle to the end here at Selhurst Park. Fabulous. Fabulous. A debut goal for Roman Issa. Whether it be too little too late for Crystal Palace or not, they're bouncing and loving that their debutant has already opened his account with his first touch in a Crystal Palace shirt. I mean, fabulous. And they'll need a little boost with 4 minutes of normal time to go, plus the added time. They are certainly back in the battle. There's an issue here for a Brentford player at the moment receiving treatment, so we do have a stoppage in play, which will of course add to the additional time after the 90, so there might be a bit more time to come from what we've already seen so far. So it was Sepp van den Berg that was receiving treatment. He is back to his feet, Sepp van den Berg, the Brentford centre-back. And Brentford will be restarting the game with 10 on the field until Van den Berg is ushered back by the referee. And ball forward. Remember, we will have quite a bit of stoppage time with that VAR check for a retake of the penalty a bit earlier on, and how long that took. And then, of course, a few stoppages after the last two goals. A stoppage after the last Brentford goal for an injury. And then, of course, a bit of a stoppage there with another injury after that Crystal Palace goal. So quite a bit of stoppage time to come. There's more than enough time for more drama to be seen and experienced here at Selhurst Park. Long throw. Into the box it goes from Brentford, dealt with by Lacroix, kept alive. A heavy touch, and the shot from the edge of the box was always going wide from that position. And that was Vitaly Janot with that shot. It was Shada that was taken off by Brentford a few moments earlier, so clearly Richards and Shada both coming off worse for wear from that collision for the second Brentford goal. As Eddie Nketiah penalised for a push there in the middle. Free kick to Brentford. Certainly not in a hurry here, Brentford, to take this. Oliver Glass there making the point that Mark Flecken is time wasting. Long ball forward by Flecken from the free kick. Headed away by Lerma. Still alive in and around the box with Wissa. Lovely flick on. Now the header, and Burmo off the post and cleared away by Palace. That was ever so close, and Wissa and Burmo almost linking up there. Here's Jensen into the space for Janelt. Battling was Lerma, who was brought down. And the referee gives a free kick, which Palace take quickly. They're in a bit of a hurry now. Eze. They've got no time to be wasting here, Palace. Nketiah down the left-hand side, up against Rushlev. Jumps back infield. Finding Esse in the middle. Back out wide to Mitchell. Now Kamada. Headed away by Jensen. Brought down this time by Gurhi. Palace on the push. Mitchell with a cross. Away by Collins. Flicked on by Damsgaard. But again, Palace will retrieve. As we hit the 90-minute mark. 9 added minutes. Told you there would be a lot of time added on. And there will be 9 more minutes in this one. Certainly the home fans, the happier to see 9 on that board by the 4th official. Here is Keane Lewis Potter under pressure. Goes out of play that for a Brentford throw. Well, Brentford have conceded 6 goals after the 90th minute. And they know all about it because the last game they conceded 2 goals plus 90 minutes when Darwin Nunez scored to win the game for Liverpool last weekend at the G-Tech. So it's in their recent memory of conceding late in games of football that changed the outcome of the result. They don't want to do the same here. They want to get back to winning ways. They want to get to a point in the season where they want to turn their form around and look up the table, Brentford. A win here this afternoon would see them doing that. Maybe 2 points off Fulham in 10th. Fulham, of course, yet to play this weekend. It would only be a couple of points off that top half. Brentford with a win. Crystal Palace would see themselves a bit further away. They would be 4 points behind Brentford if they were to lose this afternoon. So Brentford picking up a bit of ground, leaving Crystal Palace a bit behind them. Nice header won by Collins. Up in the air it continues. Flicked on there by Esse. Trying to find Eze. Or Eze, sorry. I told you I get mixed up with the pronunciation. Certainly urgency from Palace. 7 minutes of the 9 added remain. There's lots of time. It's about creating the chance that will get them that leveller. Gurhi over the top. Mateta, who struggled all afternoon. Nice link up there with Esse to Eze. Here is Roman Esse. Just couldn't get on the end of the ball on his heels there when Abere Eze played the ball wide to him. Almost getting on the end of that one. Change here for Brentford late. So a bit of an adaptation. Ben Mee's going to be coming on for Mikkel Damsgaard here. So an extra defender for Brentford. They will go to a back 5. That's what I mean about adaptability. For Thomas Frank is the fact that he knows his side are under pressure and he's just comfortable with just saying drop into a back 5 and just kind of see out the result. Nice takedown by Munoz from the Brentford throw-in, although the cross is dealt with by Rushlev. Ball in the air it goes, and Burmo with a lovely flick-on header. Here it comes, Gurhi. And Burmo couldn't get his cross in. Mitchell in the way of that one. He clears it long. Mateta battling. Held on to by Collins. And he's going to get the free kick there. Well, the Frenchman, the Palace number 14, Jean-Philippe Mateta. And yeah, Collins had a real grapple on the Palace centre forward. Quite clearly a foul. And a free kick. 5 minutes to go. Eze is the one over this. Quite a distance away. He will fizz it forward into the box. Floated over the head of Collins. Goal kick. Not much real threat on that set piece in the end, really. Could have been more threatening, but in the end, turned out to be no bother for Brentford to deal with. Flecken again, taking his time, which won't appease the home crowd. Flecken does knock it long. Far away as he can get it. Lerma wins the first header. Brought down by Esse. Trying to find Mateta in behind. And Jean-Philippe Mateta breaking in behind here. And just clipping off Sepp van den Berg the ball. And will be a Palace corner. Well, one thing I have to say. The substitute here, the debutant, Roman Esse, has come off the bench and is making a difference for Crystal Palace. He's got the goal that gets them back in the game. And he played that ball down the right flank to get Mateta into a good area to win a corner, of which Eze will take on this right-hand side. Eze to deliver. The wind swirling around. Well, the referee sorting out one or two problems in the middle there. The two number 8s, Lerma and Jensen, getting up on each other's business there. Corner on the right side then. Eze will take. Right-footed delivery. Cleared away by Janelt. Eze will keep it in on the right side. He will want to whip it in again. He will. Whipped in again and headed away by Brentford. And now a bit loose at the back. Caught out at the back and Burma on a straight foot race. But Henderson will come and will knock it long over the top here. Bit of pressure as a man goes down on the edge of the box there for Palace. The referee is going to give a free kick, I believe. Or no, he's going to have a throw in on the right side there. Or did the assistant give it? We'll see it again. Oh yeah, it is Sepp van den Berg. A bit sneaky from Sepp van den Berg on Mark Guehi. Yeah, it's definitely a foul. Yeah, I think the assistant on that side spotted it and has given it. So a free kick here for Crystal Palace. Initially it looked like the referee had just given a throw in, but the assistant had waving that flag around quite vigorously and the referee decided to give the free kick. This could be a huge chance for Crystal Palace. Less than 2 minutes of the 9 added to go. Eze to the right hand side of the box, around about 20 yards out. Had a chance earlier in the game to hit the post from this type of situation. Eze steps up. Oh, and over the bar it goes. Another one gone a-begging for Crystal Palace and Eze. Just over the bar, not too far away, but not on target once again. Just over a minute remain. And will this be one of those where Brentford will hold on? And it just won't go Palace's way on the day. They could have fair argument that they've played well today and they probably could come away with a point, but in the big moments, in the really important moments, I think Brentford have stepped up. They got a bit of luck, maybe a slice of luck, at the fact that their penalty had to be retaken, but again, you can't encroach. The second one, really good header by Shada. But Palace have fought back, they've battled back, they've tried to push for a late equaliser here. But Brentford will have a corner on this far left side with less than 30 seconds to go. And unless there's a break on here for Palace from this corner, it looks like Brentford might just hold on to what would be a much needed 3 points for Thomas Frank's team. And they've certainly been asked questions and tested by Palace today. But can they just hold on here late? There's a lot of bodies forward. They're not retreating as much as you probably expect at this such a late stage in such a late circumstance. Holding around the box, corner taken short, cut back to Mbermo, will deliver. Flicked away by Lacroix. Back into the mix there, over the top by Janelt, caught by Henderson. Is there one last opportunity for Palace? Henderson will take it down and will kick it long. The referee's allowing one more opportunity. Ball bouncing forward. Vandenberg with a not great header. Munoz went down, still alive. Lerma headed away by Janelt. Palace still have it here with Guehi. Surely this is it now. Guehi's ball is into the hands of Flecken, and that's surely it. 100 minutes we've surpassed. And I think if once Flecken kicks this, the referee will blow the final whistle, I would guess. And I guess correctly. A huge and much needed 3 points for Brentford on the road. They had to hold on for it at the end when Palace got that late goal that could have put the cat amongst the pigeons. But in the end, it was Brentford that held through. Their top scorer, Brandon Mbermo, getting another from the penalty spot, making it 9 out of 9 from the spot for him in the league. And Kevin Shada might have injured himself in the process, but got that second goal that in the end was pretty crucial come the end. A great debut individually for Roman Esse, who got a goal with his first touch in a Crystal Palace shirt, but it wasn't to be enough on the day for Crystal Palace to come away with anything on the day. It's a second successive away win for Brentford on the road in the Premier League. There are only 2 on the road they've won this season. They're in good form on the road, and they're going to want to convert that and keep it going with a big victory in South London. Final score at Selhurst Park: Crystal Palace 1, Brentford 2. Wow. Great end to the game, and a great game overall, really. It came to life in the second half, and Brentford took it past Palace, but Palace battled back towards the end, but couldn't get that all-needed equaliser. Speaking of not getting equalisers, Spurs went 1-0 up, were 1-0 up at half-time, but collapsed in the second half, and Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester. It seems like any team that needs a win, you want to play Spurs because you're going to get one. It is Leicester's first league win. Listen to this. Their first league win in 9 games. Their last league win came at the start of December when they beat West Ham. They have lost all of their last 7 in the Premier League coming into that one away to Spurs. But they have got a big victory, Leicester, that takes them out of the bottom 3 and certainly leading the charge with those other teams below them. So that's how it's ended there. We will recap all that's happened this weekend and look ahead to what's coming up later on in our second stream of the day, which will see Aston Villa take on West Ham United. That's a 4:30 kickoff, and you can join us in about 25 minutes for that one. For now, thanks for your company for this one at Selhurst Park, where Crystal Palace fell to defeat, but Brentford back-to-back wins on the road.